Yet, just a few minutes after I left the Uncensored studio, news broke that Charlie Kirk had been shot and, as we now know, assassinated. We're going to bring you the Andrew Tate interview in full, unedited and uncensored. But first, Andrew Tate returns to give his reaction to his horrific story. Andrew Tate, welcome back to Uncensored. This all happened just after we finished our interview 2 days ago. Just first of all, your immediate reaction when you heard what had happened to Charlie Kirk.
I was devastated. I was very, very sad about it because he's one of the good guys, and he's one of the people who believed in discourse, and he believed in speaking and trying to explain with logic why your worldview is better than the opposing. And if we don't have discourse, then all we have left is violence and war. The point of conversation is to avoid the war. The point of conversation is to be able to sit down and be logical enough to come to a conclusion without the need for violence. And it turns out that that's becoming less and less likely in America today.
I mean, it was, as we get more and more information about the shooter, he's 22 years old. He had bullet casings with "Hey Fascist," "Catch," "O Bella Ciao," which is a reference to an Italian song adopted by the anti-fascist resistance during World War II. And then several sort of slightly ambiguous ones. "If you read this, you're gay," LMAO, "Notices bulges," OWO, "What's this?" which is a meme from internet culture associated with the furry craze. When you look at all that in totality, what do you think we're dealing with here in terms of who this person is?
I think America has a lot of problems. I think that it's an extremely politically charged environment, perhaps the most politically charged environment on the planet. Politics is all anyone talks about all day, every day. The judicial system is politicized. The educational system is politicized. You couple in with the fact it's the most medicated country in the world. It's very unusual for someone who grew up in Europe to know a large percentage of his fellow students to be on some kind of anti-anxiety medication, some kind of depression medication. These SSRIs remove the humanity from the mind and just wipe their brain. You couple that with a hateful media, which is constantly spitting out hateful rhetoric, and you're going to have a whole bunch of drones walking around without humanity, waiting to receive their slave instructions. And they're going to believe that they're doing the right thing by murdering people as opposed to just talking to them. So America is a very, very interesting place with a lot of problems. It's easy to just blame guns. I think that's pretty shallow to do because you can kill with a car, you can kill with a knife. We need to find out why there's such a spiritual sickness across all of the Western world, especially America.
The governor in Utah gave a pretty powerful address today in which he appealed to people to tone down rhetoric. To get off social media, actually, as much as you can, get back to the real world where 80% of the population exists in America. You're very active on social media. You can be very inflammatory on social media. I mean, some of the tweets you've done since Charlie Kirk's death, the left are evil, murdering scum who kill people or let others kill people. They must be held accountable. They're not the good guys. The compassionate, nice guys want you dead, and they'll do it or encourage us to do it. I get 1,000 death threats a day from these people. We are at war. Civil war was another one. Some people will say, all right, Andrew Tate, you are part of the problem. You are yourself spewing pretty toxic stuff out to millions of people, whipping up rather than calming down the problem. What do you say to that?
Well, if you have a point of view, somebody can be radicalized by it, right? If you have any point of view on the planet, somebody can be radicalized by it. And social media, like all things, is a fantastic tool that can do amazing things. But if it's used the wrong way, it can also do very destructive things. I don't think the answer is to start telling people to not talk. I think the answer is more discussion, more debate. Because if you remove debate, the only answer is violence. So I think that it's also my tweets, which you just highlighted, the fact that I do receive death threats. Somebody did try to kill me only a few weeks ago. And then a friend of mine, a guy who I respected, was blasted and I had to watch him bleed out. I think it's pretty fair to say that, of course, my tweets are going to be emotionally charged. We can't get into an area where we say that we can't talk anymore because that's only going to lead to more violence. We have to be able to speak to each other. And I think that you would agree, perhaps I'm wrong, that it's the left which seem to be the ones who are so obsessed with assassination. It seems to be the left which are more violent, Antifa and their riots trying to assassinate President Trump. An attempt was made on my life. An attempt was made on Nick Fuentes' life. They just killed Charlie Kirk. For us to sit here and pretend that this violence isn't going one way is disingenuous.
I certainly don't think it only goes one way. I certainly think it can go the way of any extremist, that the far right has its own problem with extremists. There have been lots of left-wing politicians and public figures who've been targeted. So I think it's a problem that goes both ways. But I have said for quite a while that the woke mind virus, as Elon Musk calls it, that ideology is extremely dangerous, because the irony of it is you've got this kid who is, purporting to be anti-fascist, but actually using violence and a gun to silence permanently someone whose views he doesn't agree with. The point being, that is the epitome of fascism.
Well, that's exactly it. So the reason this is so dangerous from the left, and it's not as dangerous from the right, is because the people who are on the right live in a version of objective reality. We live in the real world. These people do not live in the real world. If you're going to believe that a man is a woman, and you're going to believe that we should have no borders for our country and unlimited numbers of people can turn up and just steal from us, if you're going to believe that criminals shouldn't go to jail, you're not a person who's sensible. You now have no parameters from which to operate your logic. So if you're going to live in a complete fantasy land, it becomes a lot easier to justify murdering a political opponent than it does if you operate from a frame of rationality. So for that reason, the left are far more dangerous, because all of their ideas are dangerous, because none of them are true. None of them are real. For the same reason it's dangerous for me to say to you, gravity isn't real, you can jump off a building. If you start believing in things that are completely falsified, completely fantasy, then murder is the end result of all of it. So the left is a serious problem across the world. It's a serious problem across America, especially. You add in a spiritual sickness where we have nothing unifying us in the West anymore. We don't share respect for a flag. We don't share respect for the country we're in. We don't share language. We don't share religion. We don't even share economic prosperity anymore. There's literally nothing unifying us. And if you're going to remove the capability to debate and discuss ideas, then you're going to have an absolute civil war. And that's what's so sad, that Charlie Kirk literally was the #1 guy trying to speak. He wasn't trying to inflame tensions. He wasn't trying to push violence. He was the guy saying, look, let's talk this through and let me show you why you're wrong. He was the good guy who did the right thing, and he caught a bullet for it. And that is truly devastating.
But when you post civil war, literally one post just said civil war, what do you mean by that? What do you expect?
I mean that civil war is coming if we can't talk to each other.
Well, that's a different sentiment. Had you said that, then fair enough. But just to say civil war is...
Well, did I give a verb?
Well, what you're saying by civil war, you're saying to your followers that you believe there is a state of civil war here. Now, as you know, the Civil War in America was one of the most consequential periods in its history and was waged with gun violence.
Well, I can answer that in two ways. Firstly, if conservatives can't give their opinion and they can't talk openly and freely without catching a bullet, then I guess it is a war. But that wasn't what I was inferring. I was inferring that a civil war is coming if we can't speak to each other and unify behind an idea, especially the idea of being an American. You've now added a verb saying that I was trying to incite civil war, because very much like all other media figures, it's your primary intention.
I didn't add anything.
It's your primary intention to just spin up negative clips and find things that get you views.
Do you mean I added?
And that's exactly what the liberal media has always done, which is why conservatives are under permanent attack.
Hang on.
We're going to now sit here and say I'm a violent person.
No, I didn't say that.
When someone else turns up at my house attempting to kill me like they did 3 weeks ago,
why are you putting words
that has nothing to do with you, Piers?
Why are you
the liberal media in and of itself is truly disgusting. It's the reason why Charlie Kirk had to eat a bullet.
Let me respond
because the liberal media convinced this guy, this guy who probably looks like he's on SSRIs to me, that Charlie Kirk was the heart of evil when he truly wasn't. So please do not, in this conversation about a fallen comrade, do not do the exact thing the media always do and the exact thing that ended up getting him killed. Do not say I said something I didn't say, and do not give some garbage inference trying to get a bunch of clicks on your channel. You may need money, but I don't, sir. So I don't care about clicks.
Respond.
You may be broke. I'm not. I didn't say let's go to civil war.
If I may respond,
say let's start a civil war.
If I may respond,
I said
you can keep talking, Andrew, or you can shut up. I never added any verb. I literally read your post was 2 words. And
neither did
civil war. I never added a verb. So the whole pretext for your whole pretext for your little rant about me is based on a lie, which the viewers will know was a lie because they heard what I said. I never added any words to your post. I read out the words civil war and asked you what you meant by it.
The word infer
you then
means?
clarified it. You then clarified it. And I would say to you in return that if you don't want people to misinterpret your post, then maybe post what you actually mean rather than posting the words civil war, which I think are incendiary.
Thank you very much. It's clear that conservatives are under attack by a rabid left-wing sect of the population, which is being radicalized by media figures, very much like yourself. That is clear. We just saw a man bleed to death in front of his wife and children, purely because the media convinces everybody at home that he is evil somehow for having an opinion.
There is an irony. There is an irony. Okay.
And MSNBC and all of these people who do this, even after his death, were constantly trying to make excuses for the shooter. It is disgusting.
Okay.
And I know you don't care, Piers, but a man tried to come into my house and stab me 3 weeks ago. So for you to infer I'm saying that we need to have a civil war, it's actually quite heinous. So please be careful, sir.
I'm not the one who said civil war. You are.
I said civil war, and then you tried to infer, you tried to sit and ask and infer that I'm trying to promote violence.
I asked you what you meant by it.
First, you talked about how my tweets are inflammatory, and you're trying to say that I promote violence. Then you read those tweets out because you're inferring I'm a violent person so that some idiot at home is going to watch this and believe that I deserve to die. And I'm telling you that I'm here. I understand you need views. I understand you need clicks. I understand you're poor. I'm not. I'm here. I don't give a shit about the views. Do not infer I said something I did not say. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I didn't, as everybody who watches this knows, so you just lied. Andrew Tate, thank you very much. Well, now, here is that extraordinary interview from earlier this week, as it was recorded in real time. Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum Night all-natural supplements. Thousands of Brits and Americans are already taking them with incredible results. Optimum Day is designed to boost your energy and